You know, we think spirituality is a choice, but actually it's not, because life is going to try to teach you. And if you don't learn through the whispers, it becomes through speech. And if you don't hear the speech, it comes through screams. And so it behooves us to listen as carefully as we can to the messages that are coming to us.
Hello, and welcome to Spiritually Hungry. I'm hungry. This happens once in a while. We have such a rush day that when we sit down to do this and I say spiritually hungry, I realize that I'm actually hungry. Today, we're going to talk about a very profound, deep Kabbalistic concept. It is one of the most life-changing altering of consciousness that I think one will have in this lifetime. I remember when I first learned it.
Oh, really?
It kind of put everything into a new perspective, a new scope, and it helped me understand the purpose of challenges and pain and even just connection and love in a way that I don't think you could fully appreciate the reasons for all of those things in our lives. So if you haven't figured it out, today we're going to talk about the concept of tikkune, which means correction. And of course, that word correction doesn't probably sound great, but it's really a return. It's a return to going back to self, really to discover who you are by recognizing the opportunity in the places that you find to be most challenging and triggering. I don't like the word triggering, but this is perfect. Right. And usually it's in our spouse, our in-laws, our boss,
our enemy,
the barista, the babysitter, your workout buddy, or your workout
for running the red light
nemesis. Yeah, it's and all of those things where you think big and small, right? I think part of the issue is sometimes people think it's these overarching things, and if I could just get rid of that one thing, then I would be happy. Then I will live the life I want. But it's also in those little things. We really don't know why we're here. Maybe it's to offer one kindness to some random stranger, and that's why we had an opportunity to give or not give. So we're going to unpack this idea of tikkun. Again, it's life-altering.
I think we're going to be doing 2 episodes on this.
We're going to do 2 episodes. First, we want to just explain the concept. And I think in part 2, we want to help you make it actionable and relevant to your life, really, and all that encompasses. So
I'll just say that...
did you want to share something?
No, not at all. I just want to listen to you. But I started it, so I might as well finish the thought. That, like you said, I want to underscore this, that this is one of those places where the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah really adds another layer to many other spiritual traditions and spiritual studies that I'm sure many of our students have had. And if you really understand it, and by the way, this is a lifelong learning. This isn't just something you hear once and now you're set for life in this understanding.
Well, it's the practice that is lifelong. I mean, it's
but also the learning of it,
the accepting of it. I guess,
but the learning of it as well is very lengthy, and it's literally a lifelong process of learning. But if you understand it, it transforms completely your life. Certainly your perspective on absolutely everything that is happening to you. And it gives you really the map, the guide for where your life should be going. So I just want to underscore how fundamental the understanding of this, and therefore hopefully inspire our listeners to really both pay attention and really take in this teaching and all the details that we will share, because this is maybe the most important foundation for your spiritual work.
So let's just start with tikkun and unpack that idea a bit more. If you have been studying Kabbalah for a while, you'll hear phrases like, oh, that person's my tikkun, or this is my tikkun, that's my tikkun. It is the area, again, as I said, that challenges you the most. There is a profound reason for that, and that is that what we experience in this lifetime is not just only based on our actions in this lifetime, but it's many lifetimes before. And the more that we do things in a negative way or take negative actions, we are given the opportunity to come back and to repair those. And usually it's through people. It's through people and through experiences. And it will be also the people that matter most to you because they have your attention, or you have a repair with them.
Right. So it could be either literally this same person in a previous lifetime
which could be in a different role. Maybe they were your spouse in the previous lifetime, and now this lifetime they're your child, for instance.
And it can be in situations that you find yourself in by people who are not necessarily related to your previous lifetimes, but their interaction with you is there to help you in this learning and change and correction.
So, for instance,
if I could just add one more thing, I think to make this, the word is more inspiring, but more to give our students more impetus to really embrace this, because, like you said, the word correction is like, I made a mistake on my paper.
Right.
I have to you have to correct it. But if you understand that any type of lack that you are experiencing, so maybe you're having trouble finding your soulmate, maybe having trouble at work, maybe having trouble being happy, it is the net effect of the parts of you that need to be corrected. So, and that your soul ultimately wants. Of course, it wants to be perfected. It wants to be corrected. So rather than say, so I'm Michael, is the Spiritually Hungry podcast now giving me work to do? No, actually, what's doing is giving you the opportunity to be more fulfilled, to have more blessings, to find your soulmate, to find success and work, right? So, and because what we're really speaking about here is that the barrier between where you are and where you want to get to, where you are, and any lack that exists and its fulfillment has to go through the process of tikkun. That as you correct, you become the stronger vessel, have the stronger ability to be able to manifest all that you actually want. It is the way through. And by the way, and this might not be, it's the only way through. So let me give a few. I'm just so excited about this. Raise my hand. It's the only way through. Yes, that's what we said. I had a very important thought that I got distracted by. We said it's the only way through, and all right, go. I'll think about it. No, now that our listeners will be like, "Oh, Monica interrupt," but I really didn't interrupt you. You interrupted me. I was interrupting you, and then you interrupted yourself. So give me a second here. Oh, this was the idea that a person, right? You're not finding your soulmate. I mean, it's not because you're not an amazing person. It's not because you don't, you have this quality or that quality. You're not having success at work. It's not because you're not smart enough or the opportunities aren't presenting themselves. The only answer actually is there's this correction that you have to make. Imagine, again, the Kabbalists use the example. You have a beautiful pitcher that you want to fill with water, but it has a hole in the bottom. So you can spend your whole life saying, I don't understand. I keep pouring water in, and I spend the next 1,000 years, and still I don't seem to have any water at the end of the day. And you could be upset, and you could say, I'm stupid. Why don't I ever get the opportunities? No. Everything is ready. All you need to do is just fix the bottom of the pitcher, and then you'll see that you have everything you want. So I just find it so exciting and inspiring, right? Rather than, oh no, I need to correct. Oh no, there's work for me to know. What you're actually doing as you go through the process of tikkun in life is that you're perfecting your vessel. You're making yourself able to receive all that you actually want. And as we said before, there's no other way to actually get there. So I want to ask our listeners, have you ever seen the movie Groundhog's Day? Is it Groundhog? Yes, Groundhog Day. And if you haven't, I suggest watching it. I'm going to give a little bit of it away, but it's not going to ruin the movie for you because it's just it's in watching it that you get the lesson. You should watch it again. Yeah. And again. And again. And you'll get that joke if you've seen the movie. Yeah, it was a movie. I imagine our listeners like 5 years from now watching the movie say, oh, now I get that joke. It was a movie in the 90s. Bill Murray was in it, and it's about a guy who wakes up, and it's February 2nd every single day, and his life is in a loop. He wakes up, no matter what he does that day, he can't move anywhere other than February 2nd. So, of course, he's frustrated, he's angry, and then at some point in the film, he decides to take carte blanche to do whatever he wants. So he's kind of reckless, and he doesn't care who he hurts, if he slaps somebody in the day, because he's going to wake up the next morning, no one's going to remember anything. It's the exact same day over and over again. At some point, he gets exhausted and bored by even that, and he tries to kill himself. And he's successful, but then he wakes up the next day and he's alive again. And the movie shifts when he realizes that each day is an opportunity to do something different, learn something new. So he learns to speak French. He learns to play the piano. He sees a homeless guy dying, and he finds ways to save him. And he starts to get invested in his own growth and the growth of humanity. And at that point, the cycle is broken. So
why is this a classic film that I'm speaking about so many years later? Because at the heart of it, it speaks to all of us. What's deep in our soul is that when we see patterns in life, it's an indication. It shows us what to pay attention to, where there's meaning in. So the patterns that you see over and over again with people, with situations, again, the face can be different. You can have the same issue with your spouse that you do with your sister, right? You're going to see a pattern that emerges to teach you something great. Carl Jung wrote, hidden within the patterns of your personal history is a code that when deciphered shows you your meaning and purpose. And we know Kabbalists have been speaking about this for thousands of years, that your pattern actually shows your tikkun. So let's give a few examples. I'm sure many of our listeners can relate to this. Have you ever left a friendship because you found that friend to be inconsiderate, only to find a new friendship and that person turns out to be inconsiderate as well? Or you leave a relationship because you don't like certain issues that that person has, only to start a new relationship and they have the exact same issues. Or you work at a job and your boss is a tyrant and you hate working for them. You quit, you get a new job, and you have the same kind of boss. So let's unpack the boss example. There are certain people in life whose tikkun is to learn to speak up for themselves, to stand up for themselves. And they never do. They're uncomfortable with it. It makes their skin crawl. They desire to do it, but it's very uncomfortable. So what do they find themselves in life? They have a spouse who's overbearing, a mother-in-law who's impossible, and a boss who's a tyrant. Now, you'll see these themes. And honestly, most people, when that is the reality, they have two choices. Either they hate all those people
and they're a victim,
or you say, okay, well, why is this all in my movie, right? What is the story trying to tell me?
Or what is my tikkun?
Well, now we're giving a word that they didn't have before. Yes. And then on the flip side of that, you have people who never sit down, right? They're the first to tell you what they think. They cut you off mid-sentence when you give their opinion. They have crazy boundaries that are not even reasonable. Now, for those people who have a tikkun like that, they might find themselves in relationships with people that feel dissatisfying. They're not happy with their partner because the partner's too sensitive. They're not happy with their job because the employers are incompetent, right? Everybody is beneath them. Now, for a person like that, it would be important to learn to sit down. So, of course, people in their movie is going to be the ones that are really slow to understand something or take a really long time to navigate through something, or argumentative. Why is that in their movie? Why is that? Because that is their tikkun. Now, if you see it that way, you say, wow, all these people are in front of me to give me an opportunity to grow something in me that I need to grow. That is actually why I chose to come in the world, born under a certain astrological sign, in a certain family specifically, that is going to push my buttons. Now, of course, you don't think you chose that, but your soul did, because it knows that that is the package that you need in order to become who you need to become.
Right. And I think an added understanding to that and is that if you don't learn, or if you're not listening, then it'll have to get louder, right? There's a Kabbalistic concept that the creator is talking to us all the time. And sometimes we hear the whisper, fine. Sometimes we hear the speech, and sometimes it has to become a yell. So what you'll actually find in life is that a person who doesn't learn what their tikkun is and transform from it and by it, the next cycle will actually be even more, often be slightly or more extreme. Next one even more. Next one even more. Not because people are getting worse, but because, right? How many times have you? I know you're speaking to people in relationships where I was in this relationship and it was that, and then I found this other guy and he was actually worse than. How did that happen? Why did it happen? Well, the answer is because
why did I attract that to myself? Well, here's the answer.
She didn't hear the whisper. It had to get louder. And when you look at it this way, one of the things that I'd like to often say is, we think spirituality is a choice, but actually it's not, because life is going to try to teach you. And if you don't learn through the whispers, it becomes through speech. And if you don't hear the speech, it comes through screams. And so it behooves us to listen as carefully as we can to the messages that are coming to us.
It's funny because the question I get often, believe it or not, is people ask me, what's my tikkun? And I'm like, don't worry, it's going to find you.
Exactly.
You just have to pay attention. Like, it's not something you have to look for. It's blaring and it is screaming at you until you actually listen. But most people harden and they're just like, oh, I hate my life. life, or I need to get a new community, or I need to move to a new country. And they try to outrun their tikkun, which is silly because you actually can't. You take your baggage with you. It's like a baggage claim. You can't, like, you can change flights, you can change location, but it's going to come along with you for the ride.
And what this does, if you really apply this teaching, is that, like you said earlier, it gives you a completely different perspective on life, and it gives you a different perspective on the interactions and people in your life. And you can actually begin to embrace people. You don't embrace their actions. They can, but just to be clear.
You don't have to like them, by the way, but
right,
you'll appreciate
that they were in your life.
Yes.
Because they were in there for a purpose, and hopefully if you learned the purpose,
then you appreciate them.
Exactly.
It's hard to before.
And the point, and that's a very important point, right? I know many people, and I'm sure you've met a lot of people like this, where they've had difficult relationship with their parents. Now, if they've learned from that relationship, they can actually come to love their parents. It doesn't mean that they accept certain behavior. It doesn't mean that it was right, right? But they do, or they are able to embrace their parents. If they haven't learned, it becomes much, much more difficult to embrace your parents. So the beauty of learning, of listening and learning your tikkun and growing and changing from it or correcting from it, is that it allows you to embrace many more people in your life that maybe you want to embrace but just can't, because they still, for you, are an indication of something you need to change. And it also allows you to embrace situations in your life that you wouldn't have chosen. Maybe they're not, easy, but as you learn from them, and this is, you'll find people who are, and I've unfortunately met people like this who are in their 70s and 80s, are still victims to things that happened to them when they were 10 years old or 20 years old. Had they taken the opportunity to learn, to grow, to change, to understand what the tikkun is and grow from it, they would be able to embrace that situation when they were 10 and 20 years old. Again, none of this will ever make negative behavior right or challenging situations unchallenging, but it allows you to embrace it.
It allows healing and forgiveness, really, because now you see the purpose of the experience and you understand that each person needed to be that. It's just everything else is a mask. And when you see that movie is actually a story you needed, then you see it completely different. I mean, I've looked at every challenge I've had in my life and definitely appreciate every one because I have found meaning and value from it. And more than that, I chose to grow from it in ways that were positive, which is a choice. We're always changing. You're either growing forward or backwards. And most people don't realize that. It's you absolutely are changed by every experience you have. And so it's very empowering when you say, okay, I understand. I know this, at least. I understand the concept of tikkun, and I'm curious about what this could be teaching. And if you ask that question, even people who, if I feel judgment from them and it makes no sense to get to that place, right? Because it still feels unfair. It's that unfairness that I think stops people, right? Like, this isn't right. I just send them love until I can figure out like what I needed to learn from it. Just give them love, send them love, visualize it, and still ask to be shown. What is it? What is it for me?
Yeah,
why do I need this?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking, there's that famous phrase people say, not that I necessarily agree with this, hate the sin, love the sinner, right? And what we're actually saying is love the sin, decide later what you think about the sinner, right? So the point is, you had to have that experience. You had to have that experience. If it wasn't your mom, it would have been your brother. If it wasn't your brother, it would have been your best friend.
By the way, sometimes I feel like going over to those people who have no idea what I'm thinking and saying like, this is just silly. This isn't real. Like, what's really the issue? Because this is not real. This is all make believe. Because sometimes nothing happens for it to be something, right? I don't think that would be wise.
And also, more importantly, we understand that I needed to experience that, and I need to experience it until I complete the learning from it.
And the process is shorter the sooner that you ask to understand it. Then you don't need to be learning anymore. You've learned. So that shortens the process.
So do you want to leave our listeners with one thought?
Well, I have so much more to say.
Well, yes,
I think
that's why there will be episode number 2.
I know, Michael. Let me just think for a second. I think that what I would like to do is to have our listeners, until the next episode, really consider what their Groundhog Day might be. What is something that repeats on loop in their life? What is the pattern if they can try to identify it, whether it's through a person or if they feel like they are the person that needs to speak up or the one that needs to sit down? What is the theme that's coming up for them? And see if until the next episode, they can identify the opportunity in the challenge.
That's a great idea. And by the way, it's the perfect time to say, please, we'd be very interested.
Oh yeah, write to us.
Write to us. So we always ask for your comments, questions, and stories, and inspirations. But now we're asking for you to share both what you discovered your tikkune and either any type of learning, but at least what has been that repetitive situation that now you understand as your tikkune in your life. Monica and Michael at spirituallyhungry.life. Monica and Michael at spirituallyhungry.life. Send us all of your tikkuns. We'd love to share them with our listeners.
Or even if you need help unpacking it.
That would be even better, yes.
Or if you want to come on our podcast, maybe we'll have you call in and we'll do something live together.
As always, make sure you go to Apple Podcasts, write 5-star reviews, share this podcast with everybody you know. And I hope we have excited you about this process of tikkun. And we will have a lot more to share with you in our next episode, maybe some of your stories as well. And we hope that you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it.
Stay spiritually hungry.